The moment the mask slips and the Cleveland Browns' polished PR-scripted illusion finally cracks under its own weight. For weeks, the whispers grew louder. Strange reports, awkward body language in pressers, cryptic sideline glances, and now the dam has burst wide open. The Browns' quarterback coach, Bill Musgrave, was cornered, forced into the spotlight, forced to step up to the podium and face a storm of questions he was never prepared to answer truthfully. He was meant to calm the waters, to kill the noise swirling around rookie quarterback Shadur Sanders. But instead, Musgrave poured gasoline on the fire and handed everyone in Cleveland a match. What unfolded wasn't a press conference, it was a performance. A slow-motion car crash dressed in corporate language spun so tightly it choked the truth right out of the room. He walked up to that podium with the composure of a man who's seen too much chaos to even flinch anymore. His words were sharp, deliberate, eerily calm. Not the fiery defense fans expected, but a chilling display of damage control masquerading as honesty. Every sentence felt rehearsed, sculpted in a boardroom. Every and timed like punctuation marks in a script written to deceive without technically lying. The kind of calm that doesn't comfort, it scares you. It's the calm before the explosion, the eerie silence before the building behind him goes up in flames. Because the moment Musgrave opened his mouth, you could feel it. The sense that this wasn't about development or patience or process. This was about control, about protecting a narrative that's already starting to fall apart. He tried to sell the company line with a straight face, saying all the quarterbacks were getting their reps, that Shedeur was 2 plays away. He delivered those lines with the conviction of a man reciting a bedtime story to a room full of insomniacs. But Cleveland's not buying it. The fans know better. Everyone with eyes, ears, and a memory of how this franchise operates could see straight through it. Because if Shadur Sanders is getting reps, they must be happening in some alternate dimension. He's not throwing in practice. He's not taking snaps in drills. He's barely allowed to touch a football. Respected local reporter Tony Rizzo confirmed what the cameras already hinted at. Shedeur isn't running the scout team. He isn't even on the field. He's a bystander. A tourist. A high-profile rookie quarterback standing in the mud, watching other men practice the game he was born to play. And what makes it worse is the irony. The absurdity. The Browns drafted the son of Deion Sanders, a name synonymous with swagger, speed, and spectacle, and somehow turned him into an invisible man. The most hyped prospect of his generation reduced to a cardboard cutout, a mascot for jersey sales. His jersey is in the top 5 across the entire league, yet his helmet barely touches the field. This isn't development. This is humiliation wrapped in corporate spin. Musgrave stood there, robotic as ever, talking about simulations and creative drills. Simulations? On the carpet, no less. Not on the field. Not against a defense. On a carpet in a meeting room. Pretend football. Fake snaps and fake games for a quarterback who was supposed to be the future. You could hear the snickers ripple through the press room when he said it. The disbelief. The sheer audacity of calling that development. That's like telling a kid pretending to dribble in his bedroom that he's on track to make the NBA. It's not funny anymore. It's cruel. Because this is Shadur Sanders we're talking about. A man who's carried the weight of expectation since high school. A man born into legacy and raised on pressure. And now, instead of building him up, the Browns are turning him into a prop in their endless comedy of errors. Every week, the same pattern repeats itself. Chaos, denial, and damage control. And the worst part? They think the fans don't see it. Musgrave's tone said it all. That eerie calm wasn't confidence, it was containment. The careful cadence of a man terrified of slipping. When he said Shedeur was 2 plays away, you could almost hear the collective groan of a fan base that's been lied to too many times before. Because 2 plays away in Cleveland means never. It means you're on the roster for optics, not opportunity. It's the NFL's cruelest inside joke. 2 plays away might as well mean 2 galaxies away. Because unless disaster strikes twice in the same game, Shedeur isn't stepping onto that field. The Browns know it. The coaches know it. Shedeur knows it. And yet Musgrave stood there and smiled like it was gospel truth. The reporters weren't fooled. They pressed him again and again, asking real questions about reps, progress, and fairness. And every time, Musgrave's answers grew more hollow, more detached. He pivoted to talking about Joe Flacco because nothing screams, we're developing our rookie, like reminiscing about a 39-year-old veteran. He praised Dylan Gabriel's growth, as if the competition were even. He used words like patience and immersion, phrases so vague they could mean anything or nothing at all. Behind those words, you could almost hear the internal monologue of a coach trapped in a system that's already made its decision. The plan was never to develop Shedeur. The plan was to bench him, to break him, to keep the spotlight off a kid who might just expose how fragile this entire organization really is. And while Musgrave's calm demeanor fooled no one, the effect it had on the locker room was even worse. Players aren't dumb. They can feel tension. They can sense when something's off. And right now, the Browns' quarterback room feels like a powder keg. Flacco plays the father figure. Gabriel fights for legitimacy. And Shedeur? He's sitting quietly at the end of the table, wondering how the dream he spent his life chasing turned into a waking nightmare. He's doing everything right, studying, staying late, memorizing the playbook, and yet he's still being treated like an extra. A stand-in. The Browns have somehow managed to take one of the brightest young quarterbacks in America and convince him his best development opportunity involves pretending to be Lamar Jackson on a carpet. And still, the media can't stop asking why. Why draft him if you don't trust him? Why sell his jersey if you won't even let him play? Why build the hype, only to humiliate him in front of the world? The truth is simple and it's ugly. The Browns have no idea how to handle quarterbacks. They never have. This is the franchise that chews them up and spits them out faster than anyone in the league. They recycle them like disposable batteries, always promising the next one will be different. But it never is. They're addicted to dysfunction, allergic to stability, and Shadur Sanders, whether he realizes it or not, is their latest victim. You can feel the storm building online. Cleveland Twitter is in shambles. Reddit threads read like crime scene reports. Memes are everywhere. Fans posting fake Free Shedeur campaign slogans, conspiracy theories about Deion Sanders pulling strings to get his son out. And honestly, that theory might be the most believable of them all. Because after this press conference, it's hard to imagine Shedeur lasting long in this circus. The Browns don't deserve him. Not the kid, not the brand, not the legacy. They've already made up their minds, and every word out of Musgrave's mouth only confirms it. He can talk about simulations and creativity all he wants, but what fans heard was silence. What they saw was a young quarterback fading into the background, while the organization fumbles yet another future. So here we are, another Cleveland chapter written in confusion and contradiction. A coach spinning fairy tales about development while his most promising player runs fake plays on a carpet. A fan base furious but powerless. And a young man stuck between loyalty to his dream and loyalty to his father's legacy. Shadur Sanders deserves better than this half-hearted charade. He deserves a chance to prove himself on the field, not in a simulation. Because at the end of the day, no amount of PR polish can hide what's really happening in Cleveland. The Browns are once again sabotaging their own potential, and that brings us to you, the fans, the lifeblood of this sport. Do you believe this is all part of some bigger plan? Is Deion Sanders quietly orchestrating his son's escape from Cleveland? Or is this just another case of the Browns being the Browns? How long before Shedeur demands a trade? Before someone finally admits the truth about what's going on behind closed doors? Let's hear your take in the comments. Don't forget to hit that like button if you're as fed up with the spin as we are. And subscribe for more hard-hitting breakdowns of stories the league doesn't want you to talk about, because the truth deserves a spotlight, even when the teams try to dim it.